For Damon Stoudamire here in Atlanta. First year with the Jackets, sixth year at the collegiate level. He's got 73 wins, and his team is 2-2 after a loss last Wednesday night at Cincinnati. Mississippi State in black. Deshaun Davis controls the rock for Coach Jans' club. Trey Fort on the drive.
Man-to-man defense.
Yep. Here is Davis splitting the traffic and kicks it outside. That is DJ Jeffries. Shot clock to 10 on the opening possession with Cameron Matthews. 5 to shoot. Here is Fort on the drive and into traffic. Can't finish it. Knocked around and recovered Kwesi Reeves Jr. Georgia Tech's got a fresh lineup out there. Naithan George, a freshman from Toronto, will play the lead tonight. Ebenezer Dewana, the NC State transfer, also on the floor for the first time. And Bai Ndongo starts for a second straight ball game for Coach Stoudamire. Here's the runner by George.
And that's why George is in the starting lineup, Wes. They need somebody who can attack this Mississippi State defense.
Does a great job, does the 6'3 freshman from Toronto. And here is a look at that lineup for Coach Jans. Davis, Fort, Jeffries, Matthews. Jimmy Bell's a guy to keep an eye on. He's been terrific in the early going for the Bulldogs. Without Tolu Smith until at least mid-January. Here's George, a lob and the dunk on the back end by Ndongo.
But what great vision by George, Wes, and Ndongo did a great job running the court.
4-0. Transition chance by Georgia Tech, something out of the half-court set. Jeffries, foul line against Reeves.
Mississippi State is not a great three-point shooting team, so they're going to be trying to get the ball to the basket.
Here's Fort scooping it up off the glass. Bell doing what he's done early and then had it blocked by Dewana.
Well, Dewana doesn't give you much on offense, but he tries to block everything out there.
George a pull-up. And a foul will be ticketed to Ndongo over the back for his first. And the first on Georgia Tech, but Bai's already helped him here.
Well, Georgia Tech, one of the things they need to do is run the court and score in transition, and Ndongo certainly does that, and George does a great job finding the big guy ahead and making a great pass.
Stoudamire says we've seen some good, we've seen some bad. We're just trying to get better day to day and focus on the little things. Attention to detail is a big byproduct of what he wants his program to be. Ahead for Reeves. Spots for three, high arcing three, front rim miss, and last touch by Ndongo.
And Georgia Tech is not a great three-point shooting team either. They come in at 29%, Mississippi State at 31%. So you'll see each of these teams not really trying to get out on screens and jump out on them. They'll be playing off, forcing the guys to shoot threes.
So here's Davis bringing it front court, and Josh Hubbard quickly off the bench for the Bulldogs. Their leading scorer, true freshman from Madison, Mississippi, who's off to a terrific start. Three-ball Jeffries misses everything. Matthews in traffic, scores on the stick back. Cameron Matthews averages 9 for Mississippi State. Here's a look at Hubbard now. Talk about a young man doesn't realize he's at the higher level of college basketball.
Well,
Top 100 player in the ESPN ranking a year ago.
Anybody that scores almost 4,400 points in high school, you know they can put it in the basket, and that guy can put it in the basket.
Miles Kelly from the perimeter, his 6th three of the year. He had 20-plus in each of the first 2 games, but averaging just 11.5 in the last 2 for Coach Stoudamire's team, who leads by 5 here in the first 3 minutes or so.
Wes, in the last 4 games, Kelly has been 1 for 14 from 3.
Jeffries a triple. DJ Jeffries' 8th three of the year. And now all of a sudden, both these teams have woken up from behind the line here in the last sequence.
Well, I think that each team is going to make the other team prove they can make it from out there.
George, a back rim miss, and the rebound pulled away Jeffries. He's a transfer from Olive Branch, but went to school at Memphis before coming to Starkville. And a nice move through traffic for DJ Jeffries. He's got 5 in a row, and we're tied at 7, Dan.
Jeffries is an extremely talented player, Wes. Even though more than 60% of his field goal attempts are from 3, and he shoots better from 3 than 2, he can still drive the ball to the basket.
Kelly off a high screen, and Ndongo rolls, and a foul will be called on the Bulldogs. Well, Mississippi State trailed by 5, but they picked up 5 in a row. DJ Jeffries, averaging just 5 a game. Well, he's got 5 already, and we're tied at 7 in Atlanta. Number 21, Mississippi State, 7. Georgia Tech, 7. Dan, there are 6 other games on the ledger tonight. Pick out your favorite here at the early starts.
Well, I think my favorite has to be Miami at Kentucky.
Well, that's interesting. Why would you select that one?
Well, I think they're 2 teams. Each of those teams is capable of winning a national championship. And for that kind of a game this early in the season, that's really exciting for college basketball fans.
Foul was on Jeffries, by the way. And so that puts Miles Kelly at the line, 64% free throw shooter. By the way, I can confirm that LSU was greeted by snow today on their visit to Syracuse in central New York. Well, Tigers coming up from the Bayou, and they walked right into a central New York snow. 1 of 2 for Kelly. These challenges have always been really interesting. Of course, long time in this part of the year was the ACC Big Ten for over 20 years. Some of you may remember the old 3-year sequence of the ACC Big East.
Boy, that ACC Big East challenge.
89, 90, and 91, wasn't it? Oh, my goodness. Kyle Sturdivant on the floor. Debo Coleman as well for Coach Stoudamire's team. 2 to shoot on the drive. Here's Hubbard kicking to the corner, and there's a shot clock violation on Mississippi State. So you got a little bit of bench action here. Josh Hubbard on the drive. Second turnover on Mississippi State. Damon Stoudamire's team kind of locking down there.
They're doing a great job defensively. They're pressuring defensively. And even though Mississippi State has been able to beat Georgia Tech on the perimeter, there's good help defense they can't convert.
And Dongo. A couple of dribbles out front. Here's Kelly now. This is Sturdivant. Steady veteran playmaker here. And the godson of Damon Stoudamire. He'll launch from in front and hit. Kyle Sturdivant's 3rd 3 of the year. Been in double figures twice in the last 3 games. Georgia Tech back to a 4-point advantage. Mississippi State's hit all 3 of their last shots from the floor. Here's Jeffries. Quickly they move it. Matthews. And now DJ Jeffries a 3. That'll snap the streak, and Dongo the rebound. And here is Sturdivant. Off the Ndongo screen. Now Debo Coleman. Boy, it feels like he's been here a long time, doesn't it? Coleman comes in averaging a dozen a game, shooting a team-high 58% from the floor.
Very good 3-point shooter.
Ndongo a long 2, and Kelly went for the save, and he's going to draw the foul. He'll be awarded free throws. Deshaun Davis picks up his first. It'll be the second on Mississippi State.
Well, Miles Kelly just comes flying to the basket. Nobody blocks him out. And Wes, here's an interesting thing about Miles Kelly. They will credit him with an offensive rebound for that. Right. That's 12 offensive rebounds he's had so far this year. Last year, he had a grand total of 10.
Change in administration and change in attitude, right?
There you go, run and get it. That gives you another chance to shoot it, and we know Miles Kelly likes to shoot it.
Yes, he does. Substitutions waiting at the table. Shaquille Moore going to check in. Guy Chol wearing 34, and we also get our first look at Sean Jones Jr. in the lineup for Mississippi State. There is Chol, who played his prep ball at Green Forest Christian here in the Atlanta area, originally from the South Sudan. Kelly got them both. Largest lead of the first half for Georgia Tech at 6.
And the best thing that Georgia Tech has done so far, Wes, other than play really solidly on the defensive end of the course, they haven't turned the ball over.
Yep. There's a pull-up jumper in the lane. There's Josh Hubbard going to work.
He is only 5'10", Wes, but he really gets up on that jump shot.
Yep. Terrific-looking young player for these Bulldogs. Tyjon Claude there setting the screen for Sturdivant. Back for Claude, deflected out of there, and here come the Bulldogs with the giveaway by Georgia Tech. Shaquille Moore to the rack. Tapped around, they collide inside. Here's Moore on the gather. Matthews thought about it, and now he'll get it to Jones. Right back on the perimeter, Matthews launches. And Kelly pulls it away for the Jackets.
Matthews hadn't made a 3 all year. He's now 0 for 11, so I think Georgia Tech is comfortable if he's going to shoot it from out there.
Almost 7 minutes gone in this first half. On the drive, Kelly Drew the contact, no whistle, and then a bumping foul on Claude will be ticketed. His first. It'll be the second on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech effort foul by Tyjon Claude.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has had some success driving into the lane. You can see good job by Mississippi State thwarting that attempt and getting the rebound. But you don't want to get carried away, Wes, and take bad shots when you drive in there. They haven't turned it over, but a lot of times if you take bad shots, then that's just like a turnover.
So Sturdivant is on the floor. Ibrahima Sacco, a freshman from Guinea, has also come on the floor, and as has Carter Martin, wearing number 4 for Georgia Tech. Here's Sacco, the rebound. One and done are the Bulldogs. There's Murphy. I said Carter Martin, Carter Murphy, who is an Air Force Academy transfer. A walk-on grad transfer, by the way, Dan.
Well,
he's Carter Murphy.
He's not a grad transfer because he decided he didn't want to stay at the academy anymore. He's a grad transfer because he graduated, and he did well enough academically at the academy that he could go to graduate school. And so now the Air Force doesn't get him in graduate school, and they don't pay for graduate school. So he had to get in Georgia Tech, and he had to apply for academic scholarships. So he is on an academic scholarship here at Georgia Tech, and he is in the Air Force.
Yep. Moore. 6 to shoot, the bounce pass, and Chol, a foul called, I believe, on Claude. And if so, that'll be his second.
I had a chance to talk to Murphy today because that's interesting. My son Kerry did the same thing, only he, of course, he didn't play basketball, but he came to Georgia Tech from the Naval Academy. They would not have called that a foul had there not been a turnover. Contact has to create an advantage to be a foul.
Fresh shot clock. 4-point lead for Georgia Tech. Hubbard trying to dial one in. Jones, the backside rebound in traffic, knocked away. And we're going to get a foul on Sturdivant. That'll be his first. 4 on Georgia Tech.
Wes, this has not been a pretty game offensively, but we didn't expect it to be. But these guys are really going at it.
Yep. Moore, quick off the screen, Hubbard. And Murphy will pull away the rebound. Here is Sturdivant and Georgia Tech into the front court. Murphy, couple of dribbles.
You don't want to be dribbling too much against this defense unless you're driving it to the basket. You want to get this defense to move. The ball's got to go side to side.
Sturdivant, a little runner. Off the iron, and Dongo battled for it. Slapped out of there. Here's Hubbard of Mississippi State on the run. Bulldogs looking for an advantage. The young rookie scooped it up and draws the foul. Fearless move by Hubbard through traffic. Get it up on the window. He'll shoot free throws when we continue from Atlanta. Georgia Tech an early 4-point lead in the ACC-SEC Challenge. And Damon Stoudamire huddling with Georgia Tech, his 5th game as the Jackets head coach. And Dan, I enjoyed our visit with him today because it's a fascinating story of a guy who comes back to the college ranks after being pretty successful in his tenure at Pacific. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch him build this program, but it's not going to be an overnight deal.
No, it is not. And he talked about he's looking for toughness, he's looking for attention to detail, and obviously all that's fine, except he needs talent to do it. And he got himself a pretty good start. They had one of the most highly ranked transfer classes come in.
Free throw by Hubbard is good. Looking at the 5th best free throw shooter in the SEC here in Josh Hubbard.
Well, this guy's shooting numbers across the board are outstanding.
Yep. He's 4th in three-point shooting, 13th in field goal percentage.
Now here's some pressure.
5th in free throws, and he's top 10 in scoring. And here's a little pressure on Ndongo. Murphy gets it for George. He'll break the timeline with 1 to spare.
Now, what you have to do when a team presses you like that, you got to make them pay for it. You can't just work the ball to get it across half court. You got to work it to score.
And this is the Jan's calling card, the tight man-to-man here in the half court. And Ndongo almost dunked another one off of George Lau. Bulldogs though in a transition chance, and look at Hubbard. Finds the seam and score. 6 for Hubbard. What a terrific move by the rookie. Tied at 13. George spots. Spins off the rebound for Jimmy Bell. First time we've called the senior from Baton Rouge his name. Averaging nearly a double-double. He's the leading rebounder in the SEC at 9.5.
He is such a force, a physical presence on the inside.
There is Bell. Kicks for Shaq Moore. Shaquille, little soft runner. And Ndongo the rebound. You see Ebenezer Dawana with Ndongo on the floor here for Georgia Tech. And Murphy a three. Oh boy, Carter Murphy, his second field goal of the year. Both of them are threes.
Well, that's his specialty, is shooting the three.
Played 14 minutes last Wednesday night at Cincinnati. Knocked down a triple. Puts Georgia Tech in front three. We're halfway home in the first 20.
Gives him some good size at the guard against a relatively small Mississippi State guard lineup at the moment.
Jones the runner. And it's Dawana who finally collects it. Naithan George tried to wrap it around to Dawana, turned it over. Jeffries and the Bulldogs on the run.
Well, Dawana didn't help him, Wes. He didn't really follow the ball.
Hubbard a long three. That got slapped around.
You know, he can shoot the three, but I think he can be a little closer.
Baseline. Ndongo. Here's Coleman, a high arcing three. Debo Coleman's 10th triple of the year. First points tonight.
That's a big basket for Georgia Tech. And Coleman is a guy who doesn't need a lot of time or room. You got to find him.
He did not score in 13 minutes against Wes Miller's Bearcats last week, but he's on the board tonight in the first half. Back to a 6-point lead for the Jackets on a 6-0 run, and Moore will break that with his first points.
Now, Murphy gives you a little size, but Moore's quicker. And he made the Georgia Tech pay for that defensive assignment that time.
Hubbard out to defend George. Naithan all the way, and they'll score the basket and the foul. Foul is going to be on Hubbard.
Now last time George decided to pass the ball. This time he decides to drive it to the basket. And I think that's what he's got to do. You risk that blocked shot.
Second for George, field goal wise, and now a chance at a 3-point trip, and the goaltend on Bell for slapping it off the glass, right?
On the West, the referees can review a goaltending call this year. And they can review it if there's any doubt in their minds. And normally in this situation, this is what the new rule is. In this situation, they could review it to see how many shots he gets awarded. Because if it's not goaltending, he gets 2 shots. But in this situation, they do not have to review it.
Got it.
If they're sure, and they were sure, then they don't review it. So they don't get the 3-point play because he misses the free throw.
Here is Fort. Mississippi State has only hit 2 of their last 10 from the floor.
They've been taking tough shots.
And now a foul off the ball. And I think Ndongo has picked up his second. So Tyjon Claude and Ndongo have 2 each for Georgia Tech.
And this gives you an example. Georgia Tech is going to struggle with this Mississippi State size today. So Claude comes back in. He's got the 2 fouls. And I think the ability to play Ndongo and Dawana together has been a big key here for Georgia Tech in the first half in their interior defense.
16 foul on the Jackets. Just 3 on Mississippi State. Jeffries all the way to the basket. Now reverses against Claude, and inside last touched by the Bulldogs, says Tony Henderson. That'll bring us to a timeout. Tick under 8 to play first half. Damon Stoudamire's team with a 6-point lead in the ACC SEC Challenge. Night 1 presented by Continental Tire. Well, under 8 to go in this first half, and Chris Jans was talking to us about trailing early today and the way games kind of go. He's already got wins against Northwestern and Washington State, and boy, what a terrific first year he had, huh?
Well, we talked about the fact that they really couldn't shoot the ball, and nonetheless their defense got them 21 wins and got them into the NCAA tournament. And of course, he's had a very good coaching career, as you can see that winning percentage. But he was really funny today talking to us, saying that he was so excited last year that he'd been at mid-major level for so long where you had to win your conference tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. And here, his team got to go to the NCAA tournament. They're 8-10 in their league.
Yep. Because he had been in those one-and-done leagues, right? And they played in the first 4. Had a terrific game against Pitt, as you remember, in Dayton to start the tournament. That was an unbelievable game, Dan.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yep. Here's George ahead for Coleman. What's Georgia Tech done well here in this first half to
The main thing is
lead?
They haven't turned it over.
Yeah, good point.
And they've done a pretty good job with their shot selection.
Here goes Coleman, skip out front. Kelly left open, 3 away.
That's just a great job penetrating in. And against the Mississippi State defense that simply doesn't allow that very much.
9 for Miles Kelly and a 9-point lead, the largest of the night for Georgia Tech here in this first half. Davis off the Bell screen. George got beat on the dribble, and Bell taps home the follow. First points for 6'10" senior transfer Jimmy Bell Jr.
The drive to the basket will create open opportunities.
Here is George. Oh, left alone there and scored. I think Naithan George was surprised how open he was.
Yes, he was. But again, if you're going to drive the ball to the basket, don't drive it to pass. You have to be thinking shoot.
Naithan George has got 6. Lead back to 9.
Mississippi State just can't get anything going on the offensive end. And one of the reasons is they haven't been able to create turnovers and get easy baskets. They've had to face the set Georgia Tech defense just about every time. And the Jackets defense has been up to the task so far.
Davis skips it into the corner. Jeffries 3 to shoot. Here's Trey Fort working on Kelly. And it's a shot clock violation. That's the second of this first half on the Bulldogs.
A little bit of hesitation on the part of the Bulldogs, Wes, to shoot the ball from the outside. Fort has the reputation as a very good three-point shooter, but he has shot the 3 poorly so far this year, and he looks like he lacks confidence shooting the 3. Got to let it go.
Damon Stoudamire up directing his team's half-court set here. Up 9. Zone employed here by Jans's team. Foul line, Reeves. Rattled away into the hands of Jeffries.
That's good reaction by the Georgia Tech offense there to recognize that and get an excellent shot.
Matthews. And off the ball, we're going to get a foul on Kawasi Reeves Jr. Florida transfer from Macon, Georgia. His first, 7th on Georgia Tech.
Well, he's 6'7", but he only weighs 202 pounds. Yeah. And he is overmatched inside against Jimmy Bell, who they list at 6'10", 280.
Yep. Jimmy Bell is a 71% free throw shooter, coming off a double-double against Nichols last Friday in Starkville.
One of the other things Georgia Tech has done very well so far, Wes, this evening, is they have really kept Bell from being a factor in the game.
Agree. Jimmy Bell started his collegiate career at St. Louis, then went junior college, and then West Virginia, and then post Bob Huggins, the Mountaineer roster turned over pretty quick to a lot of different destinations, and he was a part of that. It's Coleman a 3. And slapped out by Reeves. George gives the Jackets a new 20.
Now, Coleman missed that shot, but that's a good shot. They press you, you got to make them pay for it.
Foul line, here's Reeves. George on the dribble, back for Kawasi Reeves. 5 to shoot, deep 3. Front rim miss. And Bell the rebound. Here go the Bulldogs. They waste no time with Hubbard. Davis on the run. Too strong. Bell the rebound. And a foul will be called here. Tony Henderson on the perimeter, I think on Reeves. No, Debo Coleman, junior from Memphis. His first, that's 8 on the Jackets here in the first half, Dan.
This is a situation where Claude tries to block the ball, but he's got no chance. And he goes to the opposite side of the basket and leaves Bell wide open underneath. There's no chance you could block that shot. You got to get back and block out Bell. And he didn't, and as a result, Bell goes back to the free throw line.
They're going to give Bell 2 shots here. And the first one is good.
Well, you get a big guy who can shoot 70% from the free throw line. That's a bonus.
Well, and Mississippi State will play about 2 months and change without Tolu Smith, Dan. And you're talking about an all-conference caliber type big for Chris Jans' club.
You're talking about a guy who's good enough to be the SEC Player of the Year if he plays the whole year, but he's got a foot injury, and they're being very careful with him. They don't expect him back until mid-January.
Yep. They did get Keyshawn Murphy back in the lineup last Friday for the first time this year. Here is Claude. Boy, look at the crisp ball movement for George's drive. And now Claude tees a three. That's an air ball. Missed everything, and last touch by the Jackets. Tyjon Claude was 1 of 5 when he cut that loose coming into tonight.
He's a 20% free throw shooter. You know, George needs to shoot it. Kelly needs to shoot it. Coleman needs to shoot it. And if Claude gets it, you got to drive the ball to the basket. As an old high school coach I know used to say, if you can't shoot it from out there, get closer.
Under 5 to play. 7-point lead for Georgia Tech. Leaner by Hubbard. And here's Reeves with the deflection. And now Kelly in the open floor to the basket and the foul on the Bulldogs. And it's going to be on Deshaun Davis. He becomes the first Mississippi State player with 2 with 4:48 to play.
Kelly takes the ball into a crowd here, but this is the kind of aggressiveness that they have to have from Miles Kelly. In that situation, he's got to attack the basket.
He's got a couple of free throws here. He's got 9 in this first half. And the free throw good. Double figures for Kelly. Davis out. Shaquille Moore reports back for Coach Jans' team. Miles Kelly thought about the draft, thought about all that, returned on deadline day to be a part of Damon Stoudamire's first squad in Atlanta. After a year ago, averaging nearly 15 against the ACC and had 20 games in the league of 20 or more, or 6 games in the league of 20 or more last year, Dan. 9-point lead's been the largest for Georgia Tech in this first half. Here's Bell. Claude standing there. Remember, he's playing with 2 fouls, and Bell scores easily.
If you give him that much time, he's just going to overpower Claude.
Yep. 6 for Bell. Here is Claude working on Bell. Tough assignment there. Back out front, Kelly with 15 to shoot.
Bell's got really good feet, and Claude is going to have a hard time getting around him.
So is Naithan George. Kelly with 7 to shoot, and a foul will be called on Jones. Sean Jones, 6'5" sophomore from Houston, his first, and that is 5 on Mississippi State. 21st ranked Bulldogs and Georgia Tech at night 1. Producer tonight, night 1 of ACC SEC Challenge, presented by Continental Tire in Midtown Atlanta, and the first meeting since 1974 between Georgia Tech and Mississippi State. Last time they played, Georgia Tech won 64-61 in Starkville. Brother Dwayne Morrison was coaching the Jackets with Big Jim Wood. And tonight's timeout for trivia for you, Bonner. Who coached Mississippi State? 3-ball spun out for Kwesi Reeves. Bulldogs finished 9-17 that year with Jerry Jenkins averaging 22 a game.
Well, I guess Bob Boyd, but you told me I was wrong.
No, you're too early for Bob Boyd. Jones, right side 3-ball away from Shaq Moore, rims off. And Coleman took a shot in the mouth and touched it last. Double the trouble for Debo Coleman. Kermit Davis was the coach at Mississippi State in 1974.
Really?
Yes, sir. There's Debo Coleman, touched it last. And oh, by the way, Jimmy Bell caught him in the chops. 3-ball Jones. Got it. Sean Jones, 5th 3 of the year. His first points tonight for the Bulldogs. I, too, was surprised and looked it up twice to make sure.
Okay.
Lead is 4. Kelly out front. He'll fire. Front rim miss. Bell the rebound. Big 3 minutes here for both schools.
Absolutely.
Huh?
And Georgia Tech has missed a couple of open threes, but again, they are not a great 3-point shooting team.
They've missed their last 4. Here's a turnover, though. George on the attack, tries to get free. Reeves. Got to get rid of it, and scooped up Dewana, right hand. 4th field goal of the year for Ebenezer Dewana.
Wes, I'm not sure he passed that ball to Dewana. The ball got knocked out of his hands, and Dewana just happened to be in the right place.
Let's see if they mark it for an assist. 6-point lead. Jones, another 3. Boy, Naithan George has played nice in his first start tonight, Dan.
Boy, he sure has done a nice job handling the offense, handling the ball.
That got deflected by Jones. It'll stay at Georgia Tech's end of the floor.
And the thing that has impressed me the most about Jones is he's done a great job with the tempo of the game.
Yep.
He has pushed at the proper time. He has held back at the proper time.
Here comes Keyshawn Murphy for the first time, wearing jersey number 12 for the Bulldogs. Made his debut last Friday. Played 10 minutes, had 6 points. The only reserve out of Chris Jans' bench to return for this second season of his work at Mississippi State. 6-point game. Here's George. Into traffic, little fall away. Naithan George. Got 9 in this first half, or 8 in this first half on his 4th field goal.
Well, he's made threes. He's driven the ball to the basket. He's been able to shoot pull-ups, and I think he just asked to come out of the game.
Lead back to 8.
You always ask to come out of the game when you're on defense, Wes.
Here's Hubbard down the lane with the right hand. What a tough shot. 8 for Josh Hubbard on his 3rd field goal.
Well, again, this guy scored more than 4,000 points in high school, so I guarantee you he can make tough shots.
Yep. And now with 95 seconds to go in this first half, Stoudamire kind of slowing things down here with 15 to shoot. Dewana with a high screen. Skip it to Debo Coleman for 3. Rimmed out, Bulldogs, and Moore trying to push it front court.
Not going to get a better shot than that.
Yep. Jones. And here's Shaquille Moore. Started his career at NC State. Blocked that time by Reeves, run down by Kelly.
Reeves is 6'7", Wes, and he moves pretty well. We saw him getting bounced around by Jimmy Bell, but he can handle Shaquille Moore inside.
There's Reeves. On cue, Kawasi Reeves, the Florida transfer, with his first points. 8-point lead again. Fall away by Hubbard, too strong. Reeves the rebound.
He's trying to do everything now, and he can't do that.
An 11-second differential, Dan.
This is a big defensive possession, I think, for Mississippi State.
Kelly against Murphy. Kelly trying to find a screen. He'll long 3 will be good. How about 14 for Miles Kelly in the first half, and that's his 3rd 3.
Murphy's worried about Kelly driving past, and we could hear the Mississippi State coaches yelling, hands up, hands up. And Murphy never does get his hands up, and that's a guard really loves to see that. A big guy with his hands down who's afraid that he's going to drive by him. He's not going to attack you. And remember, Kelly came into this game shooting 1 for 14 from beyond the arc in the previous 3 games.
Largest lead of the night for Georgia Tech is 11. And the Bulldogs will have the ball for the final play of the half if they choose here. Georgia Tech, who came into the ball game shooting 40%, dead last in the ACC, is 50% from the floor and 6 threes, Dan, which is 1 off their game average after the Kelly make there.
Wes, I'm not so sure that Georgia Tech can play much better at this point in the season than they have played tonight. They've been very good on the defensive end. They've rebounded the ball very well. They only have 3 turnovers. They have not allowed Mississippi State to get out and run, and they've been able to penetrate a very tough Mississippi State defense and get some baskets on the inside.
37-26, 11 seconds to go, and Moore operates the offense. Into traffic, threw it away. Here's Sturdivant with 3, 2. He'll take it on Hubbard, put it up, score! Kyle Sturdivant and Georgia Tech score at the horn to make it a 13.
He was able to hit that little pull-up jumper, but the main thing is he only had 1 turnover. He didn't give the ball away.
Here is George working against Deshaun Davis. We start half 2. Original starters out there for both teams. Here's Kelly launching again to start the half. And a three rebounded by Davis. Now this also, you got to be careful here. You live and die a little bit with this, and Mississippi State will lock you back down, Dan. They're that talented at the defensive end.
They're very good at the defensive end. They got to figure out something on the offensive end. They got to get Bell more involved in this. He only took 3 shots in the first half. Davis,
a front rim miss, and Dewana will commit the foul. Ebenezer Dewana, the transfer from NC State, draws his first. First on Georgia Tech in the second half.
And Jimmy Bell Jr. is a guy who can affect the games in a lot of ways. And if they're not going to throw it to him, then he can battle on the inside and go get it himself.
Yep. Davis will put it in play on the baseline. New 20 for him. And Matthews went the wrong way. And that'll cost the Bulldogs their 5th turnover.
One of the things we saw Mississippi State do early in the game was they pressured a little bit full court, and they haven't done that recently. It looks like they're going to try to set some half-court pressure. You got to do something on the defensive end to change the tempo of this game if you're the Bulldogs.
Here's George, the freshman from Toronto, who played his high school ball in Arizona. Ndongo. Kick out, Kwesi Reeves Jr., a back rim miss of a 3. Jackets have missed both of their 3s here in the second half, and we're still at that 13-point difference with a minute gone. Jeffries threw it away in the corner.
That's a great defensive play by Ndongo.
Kelly into the corner. Here's Reeves. Now Miles Kelly, who works against Trey Fort. Switched off. Now George with 16 to shoot. That's Matthews out front pressuring the young freshman. George lob inside. That got deflected away by Jeffries, but right to Kelly. 16 for Kelly, his 4th field goal. First 2-pointer of the night, largest lead. Out of the corner, a 3 away and good for Trey Fort. Trey Fort.
Fort comes in as a 33% three-point shooter. Hasn't shot the 3 well in the last couple games. And Wes, we said in the first half that he looked like he was afraid to shoot it. No fear that time.
Yep. Trimmed down to 12 at 41-29 after the triple out of the corner. Reroute on the screen. Here's George on the drive. Left it on the rim. Bell will pull it away. Here comes Mississippi State with Jeffries. Into the corner. How about another one from Fort? Nope, too strong. Davis will try and hit. Deshaun Davis's first point. So Fort and Davis, who were scoreless in the first half, have knocked down triples here to start the second half for the Bulldogs.
Wes, I'm telling you what, when that ball starts going in the basket, it energizes the team and they start playing harder defensively. It's really important that Georgia Tech get a basket pretty soon to blunt this run.
Kelly into the corner. Here is Dewana. 10 to shoot for George. And an offensive foul on Ebenezer Dewana. That'll be his second. 2 on the Jackets here to start the frame.
You got to get stopped. He's going to make this pass, and he just goes right into him.
Yeah. So Dewana now with 2. Ndongo with 2. Claude with 2. All bigs for Damon Stoudamire. Davis.
Good defense by George.
Here is Bell. Little ball screen. Jeffries will fire. Nope. Back rim. Dewana tried to help George with the screen, but Fort played it nicely. Here's Reeves, and Fort's going to commit the foul there. Trey Fort, junior from Jackson, averaging almost 8 and 4 in the first 6 games.
Chris Jan's a little frustrated with that call, Wes, but, you know, Mississippi State is trying to be physical, and if the officials let too much of that physicality go, then that's a really huge advantage for the defense.
So a new 20 for Georgia Tech. Only got the 2-point basket by Kelly here in the first 3 minutes and change, and a turnover. And there goes Jeffries, and he lost it.
Wes, that is really the first time that Mississippi State has been able to secure one of those live ball turnovers, and they had a great opportunity to score, but they just couldn't hang on to the ball.
Yep.
That's the way it's gone for the Bulldogs tonight.
7 turnovers now for the Bulldogs. Into the right corner, Coleman launches. Too strong.
Ooh.
Missed everything. Kelly runs it down. No reset of the shot clock. It didn't hit anything and almost turned over there, and now thrown into the backcourt where Ndongo comes up with it. Now here's Reeves on the drive. Went for the dunk. Lost it on the way up. This is the 3rd crack for Kelly. Got it. What a sequence.
But that's backbreaking if you're Mississippi State.
Lead back to 12. 4 minutes gone. Dead ball bring us to a timeout. And there's going to be a foul on Miles Kelly. Made a play for the steal. Ends up committing his first. But the Jackets got 3 cracks at it, Dan.
Well, the ball bounced, so it seemingly touched everybody's hand. And then Kelly finally buries it. Wow.
12-point lead for Georgia Tech. What an unbelievable speech he gave at the ESPYs the night he received the Jim Valvano Award. 44-32, Miles Kelly and Georgia Tech. About the time you think that's gotten a little loose, they find a way to get a bounce here and a bounce there. Damon Stoudamire's got to be very pleased with this team tonight.
Got to be very happy. And Wes, the game's a lot easier when the ball's going in the basket. Yeah. And Georgia Tech has had to go in the basket with pretty good frequency tonight.
Fort, Davis, Jeffries on the floor along with Matthews and Bell. So the original starters out there here for Coach Jans, and we get a whistle and a foul, and that'll be another one on Kelly. That's 2 in a row on Miles Kelly, and it's 4 on Georgia Tech in the second half.
And that's 2 on Kelly here early in the second half. So baseline for Fort. I think Bell has to handle the ball on the inside.
Out of the corner. There is Fort, and the rebound ripped away by Tyjon Claude.
Claude really got up in the air for that one.
Yep, leads the Jackets in rebounds at almost 7 a game. Comes off the bench tonight. George thought about the 3. Skip out Kelly. How about Coleman 3?
Got it. That's great ball movement.
6 for Debo Coleman. Georgia Tech's got their most 3s in a game since opening night when they hit 13. 15-point leads, their largest of the night.
And when Georgia Tech scores, they get a chance to go down and set their defense, and that makes it harder for the Mississippi State offense.
Davis, here's Jeffries wheeling around. Matthews with 8 to shoot. Tried to take Reeves in, draws the charge. Does Kawasi Reeves. First on Matthews, the senior from Olive Branch, and the second on the Bulldogs.
This is just a great job moving his feet. Now, it's very hard for a defensive player as a secondary defender to take a charge, but Kawasi Reeves was the primary defender. He was guarding Matthews, and he just moved his feet and got in great position.
9 turnovers now on Mississippi State, Dan. And Hubbard is coming the ball game off Coach Jan's bench here with just under 15 minutes to play. Coleman another 3. That's short. And the rebound pulled away by Jones. Sean Jones got some minutes off that bench in that first half, too, about 11 of them. Here's Hubbard trying to ignite the Bulldogs offensively, and Kelly the rebound, and will be whistled for a foul. Will Mississippi State, and it's Jimmy Bell's first.
Wes, Mississippi State has attempted 7 field goals in this half, every single one of them a 3. And they are not a great 3-point shooting team. They're not last in the country anymore. They're 248th this year, but still, that's not great. They have to get the ball inside, and they don't necessarily have to throw it to Bell, but they've got to beat this Georgia Tech defense on the perimeter and get some baskets, get some chances closer to the goal.
Sturdivant working against Hubbard. Claude trying to take Bell down. Here is Sturdivant. Right back for Claude, took the contact, and Bell commits another one. It'll be his second. 4 now on Mississippi State.
Georgia Tech has moved the ball very well, Wes. They haven't been dominating it with the dribble. They've dribbled some, of course, but they've passed it very well. And when you move the ball like that, you move the defense around, and that creates open opportunities. Bell has to come and help. They flip the ball to Claude, and he gets fouled.
First one for Claude is no good. He's now 9 of 17 at the line. Tyjon is well-traveled. Started his college career at Moorhead. and then was injured, only played in 39 games there, and then went to Western Carolina last year. Was third team All-Southern Conference. Had 11 double-doubles, by the way. Hit the back end there for his first point.
Well, he's a big, strong player.
16-point lead. About 6 minutes gone, second half. Opening night of the ACC SEC Challenge presented by Continental Tire. Matthews, here's Jones, now Shaquille Moore. Long three, Jones out front, and the front rim miss, and Sturdivant to rebound.
Wes, the ball hardly broke the plane of the three-point line.
Claude trying to set the screen. Here's Sturdivant. Kelly lost the handle on it and left it short. Jeffries. See what kind of shot here the Bulldogs work for. It's basically 2 threes early. Fort and Davis both had triples.
It's basically there's nobody in the post.
There goes Moore baseline. He's bumped and fouled by Claude. That'll be his third.
Now what you do when you play that 5-out kind of thing, you create some space for guys to drive. But I think the ball needs to go from side to side before you drive it. They got the foul there. But it's really hard to get good offense if you're just playing on one side of the court.
Hubbard will put it in play on the baseline. Quick throw. Moore fouled on the way up, and I think it was Ndongo. Third on by Ndongo from Mboro in the Western Senegal.
Wes, and keep in mind, we're still early in the second half, and a guy as valuable as Ndongo, Georgia Tech can ill afford to lose him.
16 foul, 2 shots coming here.
So the next foul will be the bonus.
Well, and here's the other thing. They shoot Mississippi State, that is. 73.5% at the free throw line. Remember, in the first half, they only attempted 5 free throws. There were only 12 total from both schools. Moore's got his third point. And Ibrahima Sakho, freshman from Guinea at 6'6", checks in. Second free throw for Shaquille Moore. Gives him 4.
Here comes the pressure.
Yep. Sturdivant and Kelly both in the ball game to handle the ball for Damon Stoudamire's team. Stoudamire trying to find the crease. Here's Reeves. Lead is 14. We've played 7 minutes of half 2 at McCamish Pavilion tonight in Midtown Atlanta. On the drive, Sturdivant spots up and hits. Kyle Sturdivant's got a steady hand when he's got the rock, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. And what you're seeing, Wes, is Mississippi State, when the way they're playing defense against the screen, they're sort of dropping off. They're not jumping out. So the guard, if the guard can get by that screen, they can get the jump shot.
3 ball for Hubbard. He's now into double figures with 11. Had 29 in their win against Northwestern. That's his 6th straight double-figure game.
Wes, the only field goals they've made in this half have been 3s.
Yep, and the 2 free throws from Moore. Fort, Davis, and Hubbard with 3s. Moore with a couple of free throws. That's their 11. And the lead is where it was at the break. Sturdivant a step back.
That's a tough shot.
Yep, long rebound. Here's Shaquille Moore.
That time
Bulldogs.
Jones stepped out on the screen.
And Matthews had it poked away by Ibrahima Sakho.
Georgia Tech doing a great job getting back on defense.
10 turnovers on Mississippi State. Now Coleman, and a whistling Bulldog foul coming. It's going to be on DJ Jeffries. 5 on Chris Jans' team. 13-point lead for Georgia Tech here in the second half. Jackets attacking from the perimeter and going to the basket and forcing turnovers to build this 13-point advantage. How about tonight? Already 38-0. Micah Shrewsbury on the road in Columbia tonight against South Carolina, right? Miami and Kentucky, as you predicted. I thought Missouri Pitt would be terrific. That's been good.
Well, they're all good, Wes.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, that Miami-Kentucky game, I think that's going to go right down to the wire.
Yep.
And Missouri's a team that hasn't really played up to their potential so far. but they can put some points on the board. That is a tough matchup for Pitt.
Not a surprise here in Atlanta so far. Just better than 8 minutes gone, second half. Hubbard defending Sturdivant. 10 to shoot for the Jackets. Kelly had it poked away, and a hustle play there. Davis, but couldn't save it.
Boy, that's the way it's gone for Mississippi State tonight.
Sturdivant, a little floater.
You make a good play, and then you just can't hang on to the ball.
9 now for the fifth-year senior from Norcross, Georgia. Lead back to 15. Davis. And one, nope, he'll get 2 shots. The foul will be on Kyle Sturdivant.
I think they ruled that before the shot, so it'll be a 1-and-1.
Yep, 7th foul on the Jackets with 11-13. And here's the thing you were talking about earlier about foul in terms of sending a very good free throw shooting team to the strike.
They've really struggled to score from the field, so maybe they can score from the free throw line. But Wes, we're almost 9 minutes into this half, and Mississippi State has yet to attempt a 2-point field goal.
Yep.
There you go.
How about that?
And again, this is not a Mississippi State team that is a great 3-point shooting team.
Come in at just better than 30%, and the 1-and-1 no good off the hand of Deshaun Davis, who misses for just the 3rd time this year in 13 shots at the line. That was first attempt of the night.
Georgia Tech playing a relatively small lineup right now.
Yep, Sacco with Sturdivant, Coleman, Reeves, and here is the freshman George in his first collegiate start tonight. Lost the handle on it, slapped it away, and loose ball out of there with the turnover. Here's Jeffries. He'll cross over and score. First 2-point goal in transition for DJ Jeffries.
First transition basket of any kind tonight for Mississippi State.
Here's Sturdivant. Breaks the timeline. And now Sacco.
Well, standing right at the moment for the Yellow Jackets.
George. There's Sturdivant quickly in the corner. Coleman with 7 to shoot. Works baseline, got caught in traffic, and a foul will be called on the Bulldogs. And it will be on Cameron Matthews.
Well, he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to get a technical foul.
That is 6 now on Mississippi State.
This is a situation where there's not a lot of contact there, but Matthews moves into Debo Coleman. And when he moves into Debo Coleman, Coleman falls down. So that's contact that creates an advantage, and by rule, that's a foul. It's a tough call, though. Mississippi State trying to turn up the defensive pressure.
You see Matthews at 6'7" and 230, just towering over Sturdivant, who's going to put it in play on the baseline. Big minutes for Ibrahima Sacco, who plays about 18 a game for Coach Stoudamire. Here's George. And did he throw it away? Davis touched it last. It'll stay with Georgia Tech with 7 to shoot. Bulldogs came within a whisper that time of taking it the other way in transition.
And for Chris Jans, he's got to be a little frustrated. His team has really turned up the defensive tempo, but they still haven't been able to convert it. Georgia Tech, I think, has backed off a little bit here. Almost like they're trying to protect the lead. And that's not what Damon Stoudamire is telling them to do.
5 to shoot. Kelly away. Spun out on the 3. Rebound for Reeves. His stick back rimmed off. And now Coleman gives them another chance. How about that?
Georgia Tech just faster to the loose balls.
Davis trying to size up Kelly with help from Jeffries.
Well, he almost held that ball for 5 seconds.
Here's George with 2 to shoot. He'll launch. It got blocked out of bounds. That's a shot clock violation. And the Bulldogs get their defensive pressure set there.
Well, defense is their calling card, and Georgia Tech has reacted very well here throughout this game. The last couple of possessions, though, the Mississippi State defense starting to take control.
Yep. 9.5 to go. It's a 13-point Yellow Jacket lead. Matthews for Davis. Jeffries thought about the 3. Off the screen, foul on Matthews. That'll be his 3rd. That's 7 on the Bulldogs with 9:16 to play.
And Chris Jans is telling Matthews, He sets the screen, and he moves in to the defensive player. But what Chris Jans is telling him is, hey, you got that call on you because you've been chirping at the referees.
So Matthews will come out, being the second-year coach of the Bulldogs, with a quick visit. And just like what you were talking about, Dan, Matthews frustrated at the no calls and then the calls that were made. Hubbard defending. George a lob, and that almost got deflected in. George had the rebound underneath. He got knocked down. Here are the Bulldogs. 4-on-3. Hubbard in traffic and blocked by Ndongo.
Boy, Ndongo, what a great job running the court.
Davis tried to knock down a three. Here's Jeffries right back at him. And he'll kick it for Jones, who replaced Matthews a moment ago. Bell calling for it. Gets it against Ndongo. Double team help from George. Almost turned over. Davis in traffic. Skip for Jeffries, 2 to shoot. 3 ball no good. Tapped out Ndongo, and here is Coleman. Skip for Reeves. Kawasi to the basket. Blocked by Jeffries, score the goal. A flurry at both ends.
Boy, it really was a flurry, and Ndongo was in the middle of the whole thing. He does a great job, and then Kawasi Reeves just goes out and runs, and that ball is above the basket. It hit the backboard, and you can't touch it if it's above the basket after it hits the backboard.
Lead back to 15 for Georgia Tech.
And again, I did not see the referee signal that they were going to review that at the timeout, and they don't have to review it. It's not a required review. If they're sure, they don't have to review it.
And here's Ibrahim Asako back to replace Debo Coleman for Damon Stoudamire's team. Fort spot up 2. And the rebound for Sacco.
But Bell just does not seem to be involved in the game. He's trying to, but when you're a big guy inside and you never touch the ball, it's really, really hard.
Kelly.
To be a factor.
All the way down, around Bell, couldn't finish, and nice job by Jeffries. Bulldogs again trying to get the floor. They race it in the front court, no advantage. Dan, I'd give it to this guy right here. 3 at the front. Got it. Josh Hubbard, 14 tonight for the freshman.
Well, he's a guy, we said, he can put points on the board. And that's what Mississippi State needs right at the moment. They've got to get some stops, obviously.
Here's Kelly leaning with the right hand. Ndongo got it back. 3rd try, no good. After a missed tap, so it's a 12-point game. Here's a 3 from Jones. And the rebound of the miss by Kelly.
That would have cut the lead to under 10.
Now we go under 7 to play. Damon Stoudamire's team trying to fashion an upset here tonight, Dan.
Well, they've set themselves up in position to do so. Now they just got to finish the job. Good heavens.
Yep, Ndongo with a poor choice. Damon Stoudamire claps his hands as if to say, bye, we got better looks than that. Timeout on the floor. 12-point lead for Georgia Tech. Jans and the Bulldogs with the ball next.
It's bow time.
And you just have to keep going. Georgia Tech has not shot the ball well in the second half. They're only 2 for 10. So the Mississippi State defense has improved greatly. So it's just, you just got to keep grinding, Wes.
Last time it was under 10 was 34-26 late in our first half. A 3 would do it here. Matthews on the bounce pass. Bell the catch. That's blocked out of there by Ndongo.
Boy, Ndongo has really played well tonight. I thought that's exactly where Mississippi State needed to go.
Only got 1 basket to his credit. He's got 6 rebounds. Here is Reeves baseline, the scoop and the foul. With 6:15 to play.
Georgia Tech has not been afraid to attack the basket, and that was attacking the basket after a couple of passes. You move the defense around, you create an opening for your offensive player.
Kawasi Reeves will go to the line on Jimmy Bell's third foul. And that is 8 now on Mississippi State. The 2 shots here for the Florida transfer from Macon. And Reeves has 5 in the game. A year ago, well, in his Florida career, Dan, I shouldn't say a year ago, played 3 games in his Gator career against Mississippi State, averaged 11 points, hit almost half his threes, and shot 48%. Did Kawasi Reeves Jr. Hits them both here. 6 for him tonight. Lead to 14. Matthews with Hubbard out front. Matthews all the way with the left hand. Bell got challenged, couldn't control it, and finally Kelly's got the rebound.
That was great defense by Sacco.
Here's Kelly. Backs out against Matthews.
Trying to play a little bit more slowly now.
Yep. 10 to shoot. Kelly. Now with 7 to shoot. Here's George. He'll double clutch a 3. And the long rebound, run into the corner and save to Reeves on a terrific hustle play by Dewana.
That was a terrific defensive set by Mississippi State, but your defense doesn't end until you get the ball, and they were not able to recover it.
8 to shoot for George again. Here's Kelly. And that got knocked out with 1 on the shot clock. So go get your 1 second inbound play here. 5:10 to go, 1 on the shot clock. And Kawasi Reeves going to go right over there in front of my buddy Bill McGee to put it in play. Lobs it to the basket and stolen out of the air by Bell, who had it, lost it, and then recovered Sacco for the dunk. If that's not the night in a capsule for the Bulldogs.
That is totally the night in a capsule for the Bulldogs.
16-point game, under 5 to go. Hubbard a 3. And the rebound pulled away by Ibrahima Sacco. Chris Jansen.
He's really frustrated.
Yep, tough night.
I think he felt like that should have been a shot clock violation.
Reeves working against Moore. Into traffic and left it short. They battle inside and Bell, or no, beg your pardon, Jeffries came out of there with it. Here is DJ Jeffries. And 1 at the Bulldog end. Terrific drive by Jeffries, gives him 9. And the foul is going to be on George. It'll be his first, 8 on Georgia Tech. And here comes Ndongo and Debo Coleman back in the ball game.
Well, George is trying to play defense, and Dewana just knocks him down. He knocks him into the offensive player, Jeffries.
And DJ Jeffries, who's played 25 or more in every game, 25 minutes or more in every game this year, at the line here in the Final 4:16 and completes the 3-point trip. And some changes here now for the Bulldogs.
They're going to try to press. Bell is out of the game. They've gone with a faster lineup.
Yep, there's a double team back to Jones, quickly to Reeves. And here is Kelly. Jackets do not have Sturdivant on the floor, and they turn it over. Here's the turnover. Matthews are going to leave it for a 3-ball from Davis that's too strong. Tapped around, and Ndongo had a shot at it, last touched by DJ Jeffries, or Matthews, beg your pardon. Timeout, 3:58 to play. 13-point lead for Georgia Tech when we continue from Atlanta in the ACC SEC Challenge presented by Continental Tire. His 3rd win in 5 games as the Jacket head coach, and dare I say, his biggest one.
I don't think there's any question about that, Wes. If they can get this, and they've got to hang on for the next 3 minutes and 58 seconds, but if they can get this, this may be, every coach has 1 win in his coaching tenure that, okay, after that we know what we're doing, and this very well could be that win.
Yep. Kawasi Reeves to put it in play. Gets it to the freshman George, who started the ball game tonight. Ndongo ahead for Coleman.
You're going to have to handle pressure. You're going to have to make free throws, and you can't totally take your foot off the gas here. You want to run some time off the clock, but you have to continue to attack.
And a lot on this young freshman making his first college start tonight, Dan, Naithan George.
Well, he hadn't scored in the second half, but he's been very effective handling the ball.
That ball got knocked away in a turnover. Last touch by Coleman in the Jackets. So,
and again, Wes, they've taken their foot off the gas a little bit, and you want to run some time off the clock, but you don't want to get out of the rhythm that you've been in.
12 turnovers tonight on Georgia Tech. 3:25 to go. Hubbard can shoot you right back in it if you're Mississippi State. Here's a three, and it's good. Josh Hubbard's got 17. That's his third three, all here in the second half. And a timeout taken by Damon Stoudamire. 10-point game. 3:15 to go in Atlanta. We might be going to the wire here on the opening night. Back after this.
Welcome to a budgeting.
Won 21 games a year ago, but they went 4-6 on the road last year, and they went 3-6 on the road against Southeastern Conference teams. And Dan, turnovers a story. Low number first half, big number second half for both schools.
Turnover, of course, it's 9-9 in the second half, but that has helped Mississippi State. They've generated some turnovers. They've gotten their offense moving just a little bit, but more important, when they've generated the turnovers, they've sort of slowed down the Georgia Tech offense. And Georgia Tech, they've got a 10-point lead, and to protect that lead, I think they have to continue to attack.
Thrown by Kelly. Coleman there to pick it up, though. And now throw back into the front court, and here is George. 10-point game. Hadn't been single digits since late in the first half. And the Jackets have led all night. George working against Matthews, trying to beat him to the basket. A little fall away, too strong. Tapped out. Here's Davis and the Bulldogs. Hubbard has been hot from the perimeter. Davis to the basket. Foul. That'll be on Naithan George. It'll be his second. And that is 9 on Georgia Tech, but 2 free throws here for Deshaun Davis.
Wes, that wasn't a turnover, but it was a very, very difficult shot. And when you take tough shots and you miss them, that allows your opponent to get out and go.
Chris Janz's team trying to cut it to single digits for the first time since late in the first half. And they do on the free throw by Davis.
You know, with this lineup in the game for Georgia Tech, I think Kelly and Coleman and Reeves are the guys who have to be Reeves taking it to the basket, Kelly and Coleman shooting jump shots.
And here comes more pressure. That's 5 all in the second half for Davis. Reeves has got to put it in play. And Lee Cassell has a foul on Jones. It'll be 9 now on the Bulldogs. So 1-1.
So it's still a 1-1.
Yep. And I believe it's Ibrahim Asako who will be at the free throw line here. Nope, Miles Kelly, I beg your pardon, who's 5 of 6, has 19 tonight to go with a career-high tying 9 rebounds. Free throw good by Kelly.
Wes, in 4.5 games, or almost 5 games now this year, Kelly has made 35 free throws. Last year, in the entire season, 31 games, he made 57. So we talked earlier about the fact that he's gotten a lot more offensive rebounds this year, but he's been to the free throw line a lot more this year, so he's really expanded his game.
Yep. And when he came back from the draft deadline and dipping into the find out what that would be like, one of the things Damon Stoudamire talked about was his ability to expand his game, create more of his game. Puts the lead back at 10. Hubbard, a long 3 in the logo. Rattles out the rebound for Kelly, and he's got his first career double-double points and rebounds tonight. Sturdivant in the backcourt. Loops for Coleman in the forecourt. Debo for Reeves against Hubbard. Kawasi for Sturdivant now, and he and George play together, Dan, as we come up on 2 minutes. And here is Sturdivant. Took the contact, put it up, and got the rebound. He'll dribble it back out. Kelly goes to the basket. Got the third try, left that short. 3 cracks, under 2 to play. It's a 10-point game. Hubbard. Matthews, here's Davis. Thought about the 3. Steps into traffic, pushed the 2 up. It got knocked out. George has it.
That's a great job.
2 on 1. Lob. Reeves finally collects. Up strong, and it rolled out. Matthews the rebound. Davis for Jones's 3. Nope. Sturdivant the rebound with 1:25 to play.
There's an awful lot of energy being expended here, Wes, for not a lot of result.
And a backcourt foul called on Cameron Matthews. It'll be his 4th, all here in the second half. 10th foul on Mississippi State with 79 seconds to play. And our Continental Tire Player of the Game, brought to you by Continental Tires. The smart choice in tires is Stone Mountain, Georgia's Miles Kelly with his first double-double ever tonight.
His 3 3-point makes in the first half really helped get Georgia Tech going, Wes.
So here is Kelly at the line to add to his total, shooting 2 after the 10th foul. And that bounds away, just his 2nd miss tonight. Here is Trey Fort reporting for Jones in Coach Jan's lineup. Second one good.
Wes, I'm not sure you have time to do this 2 at a time if you're Mississippi State. So one of the reasons that Fort's in the game, they're looking for a 3.
Yep. They've gotten very small. Here is a 3, and that spins out. Kelly had it, lost it. Matthews back up with it. He'll draw the foul. And it is on Kelly, and that's his 3rd. And that is 10 on Georgia Tech now with 1:07 to play. So Cameron Matthews will go to the line for his first trip tonight. He's 79% on the year, 11 of 14. He plays tonight, Matthews does, in his 105th college game.
He is a hard worker.
Oh, my goodness. Every successful team has to have a guy like Matthews, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yep. I mean, you're talking about 9 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 steals coming in, led the team, and 3 assists.
So now Fort comes out of the game as they go with defense.
Yeah, Jones. Yep. And the second one, no good. Kelly the rebound. Sturdivant fouled. So Sean Jones picks up the foul.
Sturdivant doesn't go to the line much, but he's a pretty good free throw shooter.
Yep. Damon Stoudamire going to call his group around while Kyle Sturdivant.
He's got 2.
Yep. Kyle Sturdivant, by the way, 117th college game tonight. Remember, he started his career at Southern California. He is the godson of, ironically, Georgia Tech's head coach, Damon Stoudamire. Damon and Kyle's late father, Gary, very close friends. And the second one good. 6.5, 11 in the game. Sturdivant had 10 double-figure games a year ago in ACC play, and he's averaging 8.5 coming into tonight through 4. Davis and 1, fouled by Sturdivant. So Deshaun Davis with 50.9 left. A nice crafty move to get the and 1 here, Dan.
Defensively, if the guy is driving by you like this, you just get out of the way. And Sturdivant was trying to get out of the way. You don't want to give him the opportunity for the old-fashioned 3-point play.
And the free throw good by Davis, and more pressure coming here from Mississippi State. It's a 10-point game, and Georgia Tech hasn't done enough to put this on ice yet. Reeves got to get it in bounds. He will bang the timeout. Damon Stoudamire will have 1 to go here with 50.9 left. Attention to detail, a byproduct of what this guy wants to do with this program. He doesn't mind the timeout here because I think he likes teaching game too, Dan.
I really do. We talked to him this afternoon, and I think he really enjoys this. And one of the things he stressed was he's an attention-to-detail guy. And, Wes, the interesting thing about it is we were talking to him, and he was talking about being an attention-to-detail guy, and I don't think he even realized he was doing it. But while he was talking to us, he was picking up the practice jerseys and folding them. And I mean, he was folding them perfectly and setting them down. And so he really does want his team to pay attention to the details.
I thought the other analogy he used today was he was wearing a hoodie that had a sandcastle on it. And he said, it's why I wear this sandcastle hoodie, because we've got to build a sandcastle every day. He said, but you know what the deal with the sandcastle is? Every day you build one, it washes away. But you have to remember how you built it. And I thought that was so insightful for what this team has got to become for him, not just this year, but as he rebuilds kind of this basketball fortune here in Midtown. There's a backcourt foul, and it's on Davis. It'll be his third. It's going to put Naithan George at the line for his second free throw attempt of the year. He missed a chance at a three-point try earlier in the ball game. And for a guy that had the basketball career Damon Stoudamire's had, I mean, I'm really encouraged to hear kind of the things he said today about coming here and why he wanted to take on this Georgia Tech challenge.
Naithan George, this is only his second game of the year. Saw his first action against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And so he's got to be a little bit gassed, I would think, Wes.
Yeah. Well, George did not get here until the fall. Some of these guys show up in the summer, right? George has got double figures in his second game in his first start, man. How about that? Davis on the attack. Put it on the rim, knocked around. They battled. Davis will get it back, score it. No timeout asked for by Chris Jans at the Mississippi State bench. 36 seconds to go, and it's a 10-point lead for Georgia Tech. Inbounds to Sturdivant, ahead for George. And Matthews is going to be called for the foul, and that's going to be, I believe, his fifth. And Cameron Matthews is going to foul out with 2 points, with 30.6 left to go. And here comes Fort to replace Matthews. And here is George for a couple. First one rattles out, stays 10.
I'm really impressed with his performance, Wes. I think that, he struggled a little bit in the second half, but he was one of the big keys in the first half.
He's got 11 now in the ball game. Here's Davis trying to draw the foul, did on Reeves.
See, it's very difficult to do. You're trying to play tough defense, but at this point in the game, you do not want to commit a foul.
That's it.
And Georgia Tech has a relatively small lineup in the game because they're trying to get out and defend the three. But interestingly enough, recently Mississippi State hadn't been taking the threes. They've been driving the ball to the basket and drawing fouls.
And the free throw for Deshaun Davis is good. Started his college career at Oregon State from the Bronx in New York. 10-point game. Second one good. So 3 possessions it is with 24 seconds left. Kawasi Reeves to put it in play. Gets it inbounds in the corner. Sturdivant is fouled by Jeffries.
There's a good play by Sturdivant. Made a tough catch and then turns and starts up the floor.
Yep.
The last thing you want to do is stand there and let yourself get trapped. They're not necessarily just going to foul you, so you got to get moving and force them to foul you.
First one by Sturdivant, good.
And one of the fun things about playing a challenge like this, Wes, is you've got really good teams and you just never know how it's going to turn out. Mississippi State comes in as the 21st ranked team in the country.
Yep.
Georgia Tech comes in after having lost 2 in a row. Georgia Tech's going to come out of here with the win.
Fort couldn't finish. 10 seconds to go. Taken away by Coleman. Stepped out of bounds or got the timeout.
No, he stepped out of bounds.
Stepped out of bounds. Jamie Lucky right there with a whistle on
You
Debo
can call
Coleman.
a timeout when you're in the air flying out of bounds, but you can't call a timeout when you're standing out of bounds.
That is against the rules. Yeah, you cannot do that. 10-point lead for Georgia Tech, 9:3 to play. And Fort will get the dunk for his second field goal, but Damon Stoudamire with 6 seconds left. Here's upset number 1 in the ACC-SEC Challenge presented by Continental Tire. Georgia Tech hands Mississippi State their first loss of the year. Damon Stoudamire's team, who lost by